Hey guys, it's Stegz here, and I just wanted to take this video to talk about competitive play in Overwatch because Season 1 just ended and I've been playing an absolute ton of competitive play in Overwatch. I haven't had this much fun in a game in so long, and to be honest, this is probably my favorite game that I've actually ever played. But anyways guys, in the background is actually a 5v6 gameplay in competitive. It was in Season 1, towards the end of the season. And this is probably one of my favorite games of the season just because it was a 5v6 and it was a win. For whatever reason, after the first half, one of our players decided to leave, and I'm not sure why, but we still ended up winning, so that was kind of crazy. Zenyatta is an absolute god. I guess that's why they're actually nerfing him pretty soon. I knew it wasn't going to last forever, but it's fun while it lasted. And just in case you were wondering what skill rating I got to, I ended up getting my absolute highest to be skill rating of 75, which was just below the top 500. I've actually seen people who were in the top 500 that had a skill rating of 75, and I just barely got into 75 and then I went back down. I think I ended at like 72 or something. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing. I didn't get the top 500 emblem, but I still got 300 skill points and got myself a golden gun, so that's still not as great. But let me just recap on Season 1, what was in Season 1, and what is going to change for Season 2. Now, a lot of you guys have already seen Jeff Kaplan's video explaining on the changes that are coming, but I just kind of wanted to talk about these changes and what I think are good changes and what I think are probably not the greatest. So the biggest change is going to be to the skill rating system. Like most of you know, in the first season it was a rating of 1 to 100, and basically if you were a skill rating of 70, you were probably in the top 5%. Now I'm not completely sure if that was exact, but that's the last time I checked it was top 5%. And what everyone was complaining about is that if you were 70 and you were in the top 5%, that's not like an impressive number. 70, a lot of people compare it to the grading scale, like that's a C- in a grading scale, so that's how a lot of people thought of it as. If you think about it that way, the top 5%, like a lot of people would expect to be 95, like they think they should be 95. I know that's an impossible number, I don't think anybody has gotten to 95, but that's how you would think in your head. Like if you're the top 5%, you should be 95. So that's why they're changing the 100 scale system to a much different one. They're going to be doing 1 to 5,000, which is a big difference. That means every time you rank up, you don't rank up in a fraction of a number. You rank up in whole numbers. But not only that, they also added tiers. They added bronze, silver, gold, diamond, master, and grandmaster, from worst to best, and that's gonna make a big difference because it, like Jeff Kaplan said in his video, a lot of people want to be recognized as a certain tier, not a number, and I completely agree. That just feels much better to say that you're a grandmaster than rather than saying you're 75 or something like that. That just makes much more sense. And with this new tier system, they added a mechanic so that once a player gets into a tier, he cannot drop out of the tier unless it's the top 2 tiers. So that's Master and Grandmaster. And if you were in the top 3 tiers, so that's Diamond, Master, and Grandmaster, you're subject to skill rating decay, I believe is what they called it. And basically, if you don't play for a week straight, your skill rating eventually goes down. I think it was like a certain amount per day after a week. So I think this is a good idea because some people can get lucky and get placed really high to start out and win a few lucky games and be a really high tier and never have to play again, and they would just stay there. And so this is kind of cool that they have to work for it and keep it up to stay in the top 2 tiers. I did mention that Diamond has decay as well, but you cannot fall out of that tier. You can fall out of Grandmaster and Master, but if you have decay on Diamond and you can only go down to the bottom of Diamond, you can't D-rank all the way through Gold. So that's basically how they're going to be changing the skill rating system. It's all really good news. definitely great changes on their part. But there's one big major change that they're also making that a lot of people are not a big fan of. I know I'm not a big fan of this. It's the new player grouping restriction, and I know the season hasn't started yet. Season 2 is still not out, so these changes technically haven't been made yet, but they have been addressed, and they won't be changed unless people disagree and they get enough feedback for them to not make this big change. I kind of like the idea they're going with this change, but let me explain it first. So what they're going to be doing is restricting the skill rating gap that you are allowed to play with a certain group of people. It is now going to be restricted to 500. So to put this in perspective, 500 on the new scale of 5,000 is 1/10 of the scale. To put that on the old scale, that is out of 100, you can only be within 10 skill rating group to play with each other. And that's just too much of a restriction. Before, in Season 1, we already had a restriction, but it was massive. It was too big, to be honest. It was 50, and a lot of people didn't notice it because it was so big. I'd say probably about 90% of the players were within 50 ranks of each other anyways. So I think they should have a restriction, but just not that big of a restriction. 500 is too small of a number. I do think that it should be at least 1,000. Breaking into where it was before, it would be like 2,500. That's a bit too much, and I don't like this change because I probably won't be able to play with some of my friends sometimes. But yeah, that's the only change I was not really a big fan of. But other than that, I'm really excited for Season 2. The coin flip thing is no longer going to be there. There's no sudden death, that means, which is awesome. That's probably the most hated thing in competitive play. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the new map that's going to be coming out, and I just really want to get in top 500 this season. So I'm excited, and thank you guys for watching. I want to hear your feedback too. What skill rating did you get to in Season 1? So what's your highest skill rating? If you got into top 500, that is awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.
I gotta push it. Yes. Never won with 5.
No way, dude.
Good shit.
I wasn't talking. I was
No, you're good.
Dude, that's crazy.